Okay, it's 5 o'clock. Welcome everyone. Let's just give another minute for people to join and to start the Facebook Live.
For the record, we're on meeting 5. You all didn't miss a bunch of meetings.
Nope. Okay, and as you're joining us, please go ahead and mute yourself. We're just gonna wait for the Facebook Live to start, and we're gonna kick off this meeting.
We're close.
We're close.
I'm going to stop the screen share if that's helpful, Hannah.
Mm-hmm.
Or do you want me to keep it up?
Yeah, just keep it up. It's fine. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Please don't forget to mute yourself and go ahead and rename yourself. We're asking you to add a little bit more information to your name so it's easier for us to make the breakout groups in real time, which is going to be faster.
Hey, Hannah, this is Ed. I'm not seeing a clear convention here for
We are good.
just the way I am. I knew that when I started. Thank you.
Ed, can you repeat that, please?
Oh, I just said I'm looking at the affiliations, and I don't see, while I'm a committee member, I don't see an affiliation that really defines who I am. What would you like me to do?
Yeah, that's just CSC is fine, Ed. Its affiliation is applicable. We just want to understand for the residents that want folks who are, affiliated with other organizations, just for the breakout. Okay, I don't see, you're welcome. I don't see Heather. Heather, I don't see your picture.
We're good. Yes, we're good.
We're good?
She's good?
Yes.
Okay, Facebook is live. Excellent. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our 5th steering committee meeting. My name is Hannah. I am with the Institute for Local Government, and I am your facilitator for tonight. My team is here today with me, Erica and Kim. I don't know if you can see them. Kim, I don't think she has video. Erica, wave your hand. Okay.
Hi, this is Kim. Sorry, I'm not on video, but I'm watching you all and renaming you all.
Excellent. So if some of you are wondering where's Crystal Lazard, Crystal is here, but she is wearing a different hat today. Crystal has transitioned to CARB's environmental justice team. So she will still be participating in this process, but wearing the different hat. But we're here, I'll just put full team to support you and facilitate this meeting. Okay, so what we're doing today. Today we're doing a deep dive on mapping community air monitoring plan. We're gonna give you plenty of time to get into small groups and really hear from you where should air monitors should be placed. And as you can see on your screens, on agenda always has a timeline. We're moving fast. But again, our goal is always to be sure that you feel that you have enough time to understand the concepts that we're discussing, the potential solutions, and flagging any concerns. So your feedback is always, always welcome. Okay, I know it's not our first Zoom meeting, but unless you're on the Zoom call every day, it's really sometimes you just forget how to use it. So let's just do a couple reminders how we're using this platform. Please go ahead and rename yourself, and we're here, Kim and Erica, to help to rename you. We would like to include, if you're a steering committee member, if you're residents, just put R. If you're representing organizations, please put CSC. If you're CARB or Valley Area District member, please indicate your affiliations as well. It's actually not only for us to know who is who, but for us to make those groups and make sure there's good representation in various groups. If you're on the phone, just joining us from the phone and I'm unable to change your name, we'll get to that during roll call and help you to change the name. As always, please stay unmuted. will help you to unmute yourself. Raise your blue hand if you're willing to speak, you would like to speak. To do that, on the bottom of your screen or on top of your screen, depending on the device you're using, you're gonna click on participants, and then where you're gonna see raise your hand menu option. Raise your blue hand or do the clap or do the thumb up. A couple more expressions there. What else? Chat. Please, as always, type your questions to the chat box. You are welcome to chat privately with someone, but remember that all these private chats, we can see that at the end of the meeting when we download those chats. So all chats and private chats are public. If you have any technical difficulties, please chat privately with Kim or Erica, and we'll do our best to resolve those technical difficulties in real time. And if you are joining us from two separate devices, your tablet or phone and your computer and your phone, we would like you to merge those two accounts, your phone and your computer. So when we divide you into groups, your both accounts are going to be in the same group. And to merge your both accounts, if you're joining audio from the phone, just press on pound and type your participant ID. And you may ask, where do I find my participant ID? The Zoom is way too complicated. I agree, it's really hard to navigate. So your participant ID on the top of your screen, you're gonna see the little green sign, tiny little green sign. When you click on that sign, that's where participant ID is gonna pop up. Or text Kim privately in the chat box, and she will help you to locate your participant ID. Okay, a couple more housekeeping items before we get into welcomes and our main agenda items and roll call. Again, we are here together, all learning at the same time. It feels like with every meeting, we're learning something new, and we're making some refinements as we're going along. One of those requirements is that you're welcome to stay once the meeting is ended and adjourned. You're welcome to stay after 7 p.m. for quick questions for CARB board members and Valley Air District members. Members of the public are welcome to participate and join our meeting via the Facebook Live. We encourage you to type the comments in the Facebook Live, and we set aside time closer to 7 o'clock for this public comment period. If you don't have a Facebook account, like I don't have a Facebook account, you can submit your public comments by emailing ab617@valleyair.org. And this information, I believe, is listed on the agenda. Okay, email ab617@valleyair.org. Facebook Live will end at 7 p.m., just like this meeting. Okay, I'm gonna pass it to Erica for the roll call. Again, we wanna make sure we capture all the participation, and we know you're here.
Great, thank you so much, Hannah. All right, so we're going to do roll call just a little bit differently this time because there are so many of you, and we want to make sure we capture everyone. We're going to try and do a live roll call today. One of the things that Hannah has been asking is for everyone to rename themselves, and I know behind the scenes that myself and Kim have been doing that for you. We're going to do the roll call literally via an agenda roll call. And so we're going to take everyone's name based on their screen name, and we're going to click through alphabetically. And at the end of this process, if anyone is here that is not clicked, we'll make sure to reflect that and update it and make sure that you are all counted if you're present. So we're going to take a little bit of time, just a little bit of downtime to click on everyone's name. And if you have any questions, feel free to raise your blue hand or unmute yourself and ask a question, and we're happy to click your name. I see Albert Rivas. I see Arlene. I see Brad. Okay. Thanks to those of you that are actively going in and renaming yourselves. Much appreciated.
And this understanding who is in the room is very helpful again, so we can put together small
Incredible.
groups for our exercise and have a nice representation of different folks in groups.
Thank you all so much. We're very close.
So Debbie is here. I can see her, Erica. Debbie is here.
Pardon?
Debbie. David
Debbie,
Promote is
great.
here. Yes. I don't see Diamond. Diamond, are you here?
I don't see that person yet. Like we're doing pretty well. Let's see.
S is here.
Not page 2 right now. 1 second.
I went to look into Romeo's medications, what was prescribed, what we did in hospital versus what was sent home. It looks like we had also prescribed buprenorphine that we were using while he was in the hospital with us, but there should have been a small amount left over to send home in the event.
You're almost there. Thank you all so much for your patience. We're getting there. There are almost 60 of you on the line, which is exceptional. All right, so we're getting there. There's still a lot of you joining. I'm going to go back to the top of the screen and just make sure that we haven't missed anyone. Looks like we're all going in a couple different directions here. Let's see. So let me just make sure. Do we have Alfred? I'm asking Hannah. Kim, do we have is Alfred here? Do we see
Alfred, if you're
Anne?
here, unmute yourself. Let us know. Raise your hand. I don't see him right now, Erica.
Don't either. I don't see Anne yet.
This is Taylor Williams.
Arlene.
I'm representing Ann Rogan in the mayor's office.
Great.
Hi, Taylor.
Hello.
Arlene
Thank
is
you.
here.
Excellent. If you see your name not checked yet and you are here, feel free to unmute yourself and let me know.
Bianca Mendoza is here.
Great, thank you.
Celine M. Pham, I'm here.
Fantastic. Hi, Celine.
Margot Prouse, I'm here.
Excellent. 1 second. Fantastic.
Mary
Looking at page
Elizabeth
2.
is here.
Can you say that name one more time?
Mary Elizabeth is here.
Mary
Excellent. Hi, Mary Elizabeth.
Hi, Mary.
Hello, Gloria is here as well. Gloria Hadland.
Great.
Glenda
Botrano
here.
Glenabelle. Great. Okay, I will continue to update this roster while the meeting is going. I know there's a lot of people still joining, but this will be one way for us to continue, and I want to keep us on track and on time, so we won't continue. We'll do one last call for anyone that doesn't see their name checked. Feel free to let me know now via by unmuting yourself if you are here, and we'll add you to the roster. And I'll keep checking throughout the meeting.
Leonard Seawood.
Great.
Leonard, great.
Great. Thanks, Erica.
Robin
Before I
de
pass it to, oh, go ahead. Who was that?
Robin de Guzman.
Hi, Robin.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Before I pass it to Ryan and, oh, go ahead. Who was that?
I think we're good, Hannah. Passing it to you.
Okay, here none. Okay, before I pass it to Ryan and ask our community co-host today, we would like to take a moment to recognize a few new residents and alternatives who are joining us today. Celine Tam, she is an alternate. Dora Crowder and Maria Canderas, and I might have pronounced it wrong. She is a resident. If you're folks on the line, would you like to unmute yourself and just say hello to committee members?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Yay,
Hello.
welcome.
Welcome. We're excited to have you here. Can we have a round of claps for them by using our reactions? To do a warm welcoming for the new committee members. We would have done it in person if it was a person meeting. Okay, welcome. With that, I'm going to pass it to Ryan for our welcome.
Thank you so much, Hannah. Thank you, all the community steering committee members and members of the district staff and ARB staff and various other participants in this process. Want to once again thank everybody for the time that you're going to share with us tonight. I know district staff has worked really, really hard to make sure that this meeting can be very productive with a focus on development of a community air monitoring program, which is, or a monitoring plan, which is very important in this process. And I definitely don't want to take up a lot of the time, and I definitely want to thank Esperanza Vielma for volunteering to co-host this meeting with us and has played a big part in putting this together. Just looking forward to the meeting tonight. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Ryan. Esperanza, we're passing it to you.
Okay, good afternoon. Again, my name is Esperanza Vielman. I'm here representing Environmental Justice Coalition for Water and also Cafe Coop. So I want to welcome all the new community members. And like folks were saying, we have a really interactive and exciting way to process our information today. And so I hope that you all will be able to have input. But one of the things that I want to make sure that everyone knows is that to please make sure that as you break out into your sessions, your facilitators will be able to help you with what the exercise that you'll be doing. And you will have packets that you received, and there's going to be information that's going to be given to you. But we really want you to think outside the box and think of some of the things that you may not have noticed in your communities that could be potential polluters. So, moving forward, again, welcome. And then I want to pass it back to the staff so they can give you guys instructions. I don't want to give too much of the information as far as like what they're going to tell you.
Great, thanks, Astia. Okay, well, we would like to provide a lot of instructions. So we're very clear what are we doing in this exercise, what are the goals, what are the deliverables. So Jessica is the best person to explain this upcoming exercise. And I'm going to pass it to Jessica.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everyone. Hopefully, you guys are excited to kind of settle in. I think for those of us who have been meeting now for our 5th meeting, hopefully we're starting to kind of get into the groove. For the new committee members, welcome. We're very excited to have you. So the goal of today, as was expressed on the agenda, is to keep building on everything that we've done, especially in the past 2 meetings where we've really talked about the concerns in the community and sort of the historical impact of a lot of things that have happened for years in this particular part of Stockton. And so with that, one of, just sort of for quick background for those that are new to us, one of the 2 main components of this 617 program for this community is to develop an air monitoring network. And that network will be part of a larger plan on how we're going to monitor on a community scale. So typically the air district monitors like all over the entire valley, and there might be 1 or 2 monitors within a whole city that is really meant to represent regional air quality, but we're trying to represent what's happening in your neighborhood. And so with that, we've developed an exercise that, like I said, builds on the concerns we've already heard, that we're going to walk through today. And that explains, hopefully most, if not all of you, received in the mail a packet from us. If you did not, it is, I know that we sent out an email today where you can find that packet online. After I'm done talking, feel free to chat me in the chat box, Jessica Olson, and I will send you the link directly if you need help accessing the packet information. But in reality, it's just a bunch of information that's meant to supplement your knowledge that you have already about the community. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen, and the whole point here, I'm going to go high level, just to kind of let you know what these maps are about. But like I said, these are just some tools you can use to help decide where you want to suggest we place air monitoring. And then at the end, really quickly here in the next couple of minutes, I'll show you exactly how you're going to make that suggestion to us. So just briefly, if I may, I'm just gonna quickly go through and we'll have some people to help answer questions in the breakout groups, but just going through what these maps are really representing. And what we did, and you'll notice every single map has a breakout of like sub-communities. We're gonna call them zones or community zones. And this is sort of to help break your mind up into different parts of the community, or community rather, and try to see, okay, if we wanna place monitoring, let's make sure we're equitable and capture the whole community. This first map shows all of the schools, medical facilities, and care facilities. If you're someone who's trying to maybe monitor closer to sensitive receptors, this might be a map that you kind of use to help glean some information on where you're going to suggest placing monitors. This map actually has a lot of information on it. We have some wind direction information, and I've interpreted it down here. Essentially, the main wind direction is from up here in the northwest down to the southeast. But essentially, you can just follow this arrow, and you can kind of think of pollution. If there was something that was polluting, it would travel from this direction all the way down to this direction primarily. That is depicted here in a windrose. And this happens to be the current air monitoring station. This is going to change at some point in the future. CARB has let us know it might move here. This is, I think, where they're pretty sure they're going to move it. So just kind of keep that in mind, and we can talk about that in the breakout groups. But this is our first look at saying, okay, these are some possible things to think about when thinking about monitoring. These next 3 maps are a repeat of what we talked about last time. And like I said, feel free to chat me. I can resend out all of the slides we went over during the inventory discussion. But this is a NOx, which is oxides of nitrogen, PM 2.5, diesel PM, or diesel particulate emissions, and volatile organic compound emissions, or VOC emissions. But this time we drew those community zones on top of them. So the idea here, again, is to arm you with different information. Now we know where the sensitive receptors are. Here's where, at least based on the inventory, a lot of action is happening. And this is based on the inventory for all sources. So if you recall from last time, we talked about mobile sources, area sources, and stationary sources, or sources from facilities. So that's what this depicts. And then finally, just as like one more sort of layer to your toolbox, there were some discussions last time and some requests for maps that show some health indicators. And that's what these next 3 maps show. So you'll see it explained up at the top, but these are maps that depict from the Cal EnviroScreen tool, which is a statewide tool, how the area ranks for asthma, for cardiovascular disease, and for low birth weight, which are all things that can be affected by a variety of things in one's life, but air pollution can certainly be one of them. So with that, what we are really aiming to do here, and the ultimate goal of the breakout groups, is to look at these maps, talk amongst your group, and instead of having you try to go through and use this tool, we have a facilitator in each group who's going to use this mapping tool and try to start mapping and creating a heat map of where everyone's monitoring suggestions are. So you'll follow the directions of the community, the facilitator for your breakout group, and just start telling us where you think monitoring should occur. We're not putting a limit on the number of things you can tell us to monitor or suggest that we monitor, but in reality, the idea is we want to know where and what kinds of things you want to monitor for that are really building on what we've already heard. You'll see here, and each of your groups will go over this, we've already input what we've heard from multiple comments. So we've definitely are building here. This is not a new, we're not starting from scratch. We've heard a lot of different things. And your community or group co-host will sort of go over that in a little bit more depth. So at the end, we're going to come back and you'll report back from your community co-host. And what we will be able to do is we'll actually be able to refresh this map and be able to see everything that's been mapped in all the different groups. So we should be able to see like a whole bunch of dots that should represent hopefully clusters of where we want community air monitoring, with the goal of the district saying, okay, we heard this, there's definitely going to be a monitor in this place in zone D, we'll move forward and make that happen. So I'm seeing a lot of chats pop up, so I'm going to stop sharing, answer any quick questions, and then pass it. I know that SB had some stuff she was going to mention as well.
Yes, Jessica, there are several questions in the chat box, so maybe let's answer those, and then we'll provide group instructions, and SB will share her words. I think one of the first questions were about explaining potential future carb monitor location.
Yes, I actually think we have a carb monitoring person that might be better to explain that. If not, I can definitely go for it. I just can't see who's all on the call.
Yeah, I can maybe chime in a little. This is Joe Guerrero from the Air Resources Board. Yeah, so we are currently at the Stockton Hazleton site as we've been for 25, 30 years or so. And the site is actually going under some construction, and they're getting rid of it. And so we don't have the opportunity to be there. And we've found a spot at the University Park, or it's depicted on the map. And we're working through negotiations currently to secure that with a lease. Does that answer your questions, or?
That makes sense. And what we can do is, if there are more questions specific to the carb monitor, keep putting them in the chat. We can have Joe or his
I have a question. I raised my hand on one of those spots, but anyway, I know that the presentation was like 160, so I can't really see part of the map, and I didn't know whether I should look in a piece of paper to find where you were giving your presentation, but it was difficult for me to see because every time I try to move it to adjust the screen, it automatically kind of goes to the beginning of the pages. So I don't know if anyone has a particular issue with that particular presentation, that I couldn't minimize the presentation.
We anticipated that because it is, I agree, it is hard to see the maps on here. So you do have the packet, I believe. We talked about that. Everything I just showed is the packet. So I apologize if it wasn't clear. Like I said, I'm going to send right now a link. So for those that didn't get the physical packet, we apologize. Let's make sure we get your proper mailing address, and we'll definitely make sure it happens next time. What we can do right now is you can click on the link and you can look at the maps at your leisure over the next hour and a half through the rest of the meeting.
Okay, thanks, Jess. Any other quick verbal questions before we move into talk about instructions for the groups, and as they have something to say? Any other quick verbal questions?
Yes, this is Noemi. I have a question, please.
Yes, go ahead.
I asked a question here in the chat, but two parts. If we're talking about placing monitors, I'm wondering how many monitors and what kinds of monitors are they? I know you talked before in previous meetings about how certain monitor, like we have big monitors and little monitors, and they're testing for different things. So how are we figuring that out? Like how many of each kind do we have so that we can have a more productive meeting? And how is that determined? I mean, what is what is the budget we're working with? Are these donated to the state? Are they donated to this project? Do we have funding?
Yes.
And a question also, I mean, as in college, I mean, we heard so much about ozone levels, but I didn't see any data here about ozone. I'm wondering what the priorities are.
Great, you have a lot of great questions. So I will start with, instead of, so we have a budget, and we want to build where and what type of monitors based on this feedback. We actually, in the last time we did this, we kind of did it the other way around. It was top down. We got a certain number of monitors and then said, hey, committee, this is all we have. You guys place these. And it doesn't necessarily line up maybe with what the committee is interested in. So today, the feedback we want is not just monitors placed, but if you can tell us, and you'll see this through the facilitation process, but tell us, I want it placed here because I'm concerned about truck traffic or smoke or exhaust. And that will help us sort of develop what type of monitor might fit best there, instead of us prescribing a specific number. In terms of funding, we certainly have the funding for monitors big and small, but I will tell you that the goal is to have the most refined sort of regulatory grade monitors out there. And so no matter what kind of comes of this, we will then develop our recommendations based on all of your specific locations and feedback. And then we will come back to the committee with all of those specifics saying, okay, we think X number of 2.5 monitors and X number of monitors that might also measure ozone would be beneficial based on your feedback. Then we can, okay, what do you think? Give us more feedback, that sort of kind of feedback loop. And then to your last point, we focused here on on emissions. So things that we measure directly from a source. So that would be NOx, PM, diesel, PM, VOCs. Those all, so VOCs and NOx in particular form ozone. So you're right, we didn't talk about ozone in particular because we were sort of talking about what things form ozone, what's kind of the first level before ozone is formed.
Yeah, just to chime in, the easiest way to think about it is we're measuring stuff that comes out of a tailpipe, comes out of a smokestack, comes off of a barbecue, and ozone's not one of those things. Ozone actually has to be formed by those things.
So we control the things that Jamie just said by having an emissions reduction program, and then that would then limit the formation of ozone, hopefully down the line.
Great, thank you. I see a lot of questions in the chat box, so where questions are being answered as we're talking. I would like to ensure that we have plenty of time in this group for this deep dive conversations and mapping. So let's go ahead and go over group instructions, and then we'll move you to the groups. And so we're gonna break you into the groups. You're gonna see a little message popping up on your screen, and you're gonna have two choices: join or reject. Please do not click on reject. Click on join, because we will not be able to assign you to this group. It complicates things when you reject. But once you're in that group, once you join the group, you have an opportunity to leave the meeting. Just click leave red button. It can be on the bottom of your screen or the top of your screen, depending on the device that you have. Once you're in the group, where we're gonna have about 10 people per group, please go ahead and unmute yourself. It's not gonna be too much background noise, so you will be able to fully participate in the discussion. CARB staff and Valley Air District staff will be joining you in groups as well. Valley Air District staff will help with mapping, and CARB staff and district staff are here to answer all your questions, and perhaps some of the questions you ask in the chat box, the questions they can answer in the groups. Once you're in the group, please take your time to introduce yourself. We're still learning who we are. You also need to designate one person who is going to be reporting back once we're back from this group. Ideally, it would be a committee member who would report back, ideally a resident. We'll figure out who's going to be that person. Just really 1 minute report back on top 2 priority air monitoring zones. Very brief report back because staff will be capturing all this input on paper and on the map. Asti, our community co-host, is going to be popping up in different groups just to hear, maybe chime in sometimes, so don't be surprised. She's going to be there for about 7 minutes and then go to another group. Now, if you're joining your group with your alternate, please be mindful of the feedback and voices and ensure that you submit unified voice as your input. Esti, I see one quick question from Elaine. Elaine, if it's a quick question, I'll take it, related to the group's instructions.
I just wanted to ask the question on just the budget question, because I know you all said that there's a funding and then for budget, if that was something y'all can clarify on.
Do you mind if we just postpone the question a little further, and we'll have time at the end of the meeting perhaps to ask this question?
I can quickly clarify that there's implementation funding, and that's separate from any of the funding for any of the community emissions reductions programs. So there's definitely no need for us to sit here and kind of balance and weigh whether or not we're going to monitor something as sort of like a trade-off for reducing any emissions. So those are separate funding buckets. And certainly I think, you know, depending, we'll take all of the input here, but I certainly can see us monitoring in each one of these zones, if not more than one in each one of these zones in different ways. So I don't think we have to limit ourselves here. We want all of the feedback on all of the places you want monitoring.
Thanks for that clarifying question, Esti. Okay, Elaine, I'm thinking I need to pass it to Esti, and I'm saying your name. Elaine, thanks for the question. Esti, I would like to pass it to you. I know you had a couple words to say as well.
Yeah, I just had something that I wanted to share before you go into your breakout sessions. Going back to what Jamie said, in terms of concentrating on the where, in terms of the locations of, you all are like captains, stewards of your areas, your communities, and that's why you're on this committee here. And so the input that you have is on the where in terms of the location of those direct emissions. So, you know, like what Jamie was saying, like you see smoke, what have you. So to just focus on opening up that component in terms of memory of where you have seen these potential emissions, and then that way the staff will help guide on the map and put the dots there, and then to not worry so much about all the other details of budget, what have you, because then we're gonna see how that looks from all the community members. So, and I had an example, we talked about this in the past, and if you go down South El Dorado, it's the block of, it's Canelo's Market, and they have an outdoor like source. And so we were doing some canvassing work in the area, but it was just to give you an idea, like there's, you know, a lot of smoke, and it's, you know, coming from a particular like charbroiler. So, you know, just that's an example in terms of an emission. And so then that could be a place where there could be a monitor nearby. So that was just to give you an idea, if you could see the smoke there, you know, which is quite a bit. And that's just to give you an idea as far as like the input that we need from you all this early evening. So thank you.
Thanks, Esti. This is spot on clarification, and I love the visual. I think it's super helpful. I want to check with Erica real quick to see if we're ready to do our breakout groups.
We are very, very Yeah, we're very, very close. I think there are a couple people, just as an FYI, that are not automatically assigned. So if you would like to not be in the main room, I'm happy to assign you to a breakout room once we get in. But I think everyone that's supposed to be assigned is ready.
Okay. Well, I think what we can do, we can activate the groups, and folks who are in the main room, we can assign them 1 minute later.
As we need to. Absolutely.
Okay.
We're going to open all the rooms.
Excellent. Please do not forget to join.
Before I get my interpreter, are the other please?
I can't hear you, Douglas, but we did assign you with your person. Hopefully
yes,
they should
both
be
of
good.
your interpreters, Douglas. Yes.
Both of the interpreters should be included in your room.
Okay. We'll reconvene back at about 6:25. You have plenty of time to do this mapping exercise. Again, something we designed intentionally, hearing from you about the need to have more time for this type of small breakout exercises and conversations. And
is there anybody in the main room that does need to be assigned to a room at this time? It looks like, Stephanie, you're not in the right spot.
Yeah, I never got a link to join a group or anything like that on my end.
Yeah, Brad should be in one.
Brad, let's see where you are going. And then let me really quickly, it looks like Stephanie's not assigned. Let me move. Stephanie, you haven't accepted your assignment.
Where's Stephanie?
She should be in breakout room number 2, but she's not accepted her assignment yet. Oh, I think she just did.
Okay, so we have Robin
and Janina. Perfect. They just did. Excellent. Thank you all. Okay, I just heard from briefly. Oh, yes, please accept your assignments. And it looked like there was Jeff. Are you still there, Jeff?
If we can get Brad in really quickly, he's supposed to lead a group. So.
Sounds good. Where is Brad?
This is Scott. I was actually, it's asking me to invite, but I know that I was not meant to be assigned to a group. So do I say later?
I think I put you in one.
You were actually, Scott.
Well, I won't have much to add to the conversation. So do you want me to say later?
So Brad, I'll put Brad where you were, Scott, in group 3. Hold on 1 second. Thank you, Brad. And Scott, I don't know if I can put you back in, but you were assigned to group 3 as well.
Okay, so
I'll see if I can back
so
in.
Jessica, is it preferred that I join the group then?
It was just up to you. Since you were going to be in here, I threw you in group 3. But
okay.
Not a big deal.
Scott, you didn't click on join?
Did you click on join, or did you not click on it yet, Scott? Oh, looks like we're good.
Oh, here it is.
Thanks everyone else for hanging out with us.
Is there anyone else that would like to be assigned to a room that is not yet assigned?
I am enjoying hanging out with you all here.
Hello.
Same.
We're going to share the screen to make sure that we have the Facebook Live imagery up. So 1 second.
So folks, members of the public, if you're still watching and following us on the Facebook Live, our committee members went to the small group exercise, and we will be back at 6:25. You're welcome to take a dinner break, a tea break, or you're welcome to use this time to submit your comments via Facebook or by emailing ab617@valleyair.org. And also you're welcome to check out this meeting materials, and in particular materials that the small breakout groups are working with, and we're sharing the link to this materials on the PowerPoint slide. Another way to find those materials, which works for me, just Google Stockton AB617, and the search will take you to the right place, and that's where you find all the materials for this meeting. Eric, I just wanted to double check. I see that Jeff is still in the main group, and Jeff is one of the committee members.
Correct. And he has not responded when I've asked if he's
looks
see.
like he
He's
might
been
be
assigned but has not joined.
Yeah, I don't see him at all. So he might have stepped away for a moment. We'll see what.
I think he stepped away.
That's maybe what it is.
He has been assigned.
Eric, I sent you the text. I mean the chat.
Oh, we've got a Willie now. Oh, Willie Marquez. He's new. Hi, Willie. Are you on the line?
Hi, yep.
Hi there. Would you like to be joined into your room?
Oh, yeah, please.
All right, I'm going to assign you now. Just please accept join.
Sure, thanks.
1 second. Let me know if you have any problems. Here. Excellent.
Okay, Erica, you're sending messages. Oh, yeah, I see that.
I am.
Okay. And I'm going to set the timer for Ashley so we can bring her back and reassign to different groups.
She's in group 5 right now.
Yeah.
And
we want to give her about 8 minutes, and I think it's been about 5.
We have until 6:23. They've probably been in there, but they've probably only really gotten a little introduction so far.
Yeah.
Oh, I appear to have 2 Jeff Wingfields. See if we can combine him.
I'm gonna ask a quick question because I feel like I'm gonna be wandering for the next 25 minutes. Nate, hi Nate. We just wanted to make sure that you're not a member of the that you're not a committee member that needs to be assigned to the group. We just wanted to make sure we didn't miss you. I'm gonna go ahead and unmute you. Oh, I can't. Kim, oh, here you are.
Yeah, I'm unmuted. Yeah, I was added to this by a combination of SB and Christina Fugazi. I just barely got on today because I was doing other nonprofit work today. So I'm new to all this. I don't quite know where everything's at. I never saw the accept or reject button for a breakout session. So I've been watching all of it and taking some notes, but I don't know really where I would be right now.
Erica and Hannah, we can put him, let's maybe put him with Councilmember Fugazi's group, which I believe is.
I'm in Stockton, and I live in central West Stockton.
We can put you, Nate, in group 4. 1 second.
Okay.
You should see a button now to accept a group.
I see it, yeah.
Excellent. Go ahead and join and you'll be placed into a group.
I'm seeing lots on the map already, so things seem to be working.
Oh, good.
If you want, depending on, I don't know how many Facebook Live, but I can take a moment to just share the live map and it'll kind of indicate what's happening in the groups instead of the screen that you have.
Yeah, if you want to take over the share.
Yeah, just for like a second, I was thinking, and then we can change it
Sure.
back.
You can just take the share from me, right?
I don't.
You can just share your screen as a participant, Jessica.
But not if you're sharing. It says, when I say it, it says cannot share.
I'll stop sharing. 1 second.
Here, I'll just share
Go
briefly.
for it.
So we're not left in the dark until the end. It'll kind of be like our little live look in.
Yeah, I think it's super cool.
Yeah. Let's undo this little guy.
4.
So the red were the ones that were already there, that we kind of mapped with a lot of the comments we've already heard. So just kind of to indicate that there's more than one in that red. But these all just popped up just now. So certainly interest in the port area, and this looks like a few in this little area.
You know, that's something that we're learning from this community when, you know, your high-tech public engagement digital tools sounds like a silver bullet. But the truth is there's a little bit of hand-holding with those tools where you just literally need to bring people in the room and say like, hey, here's the tool, tell us verbally, and we'll map it for you.
Yeah, I think this has been really kind of fun to look in. So hopefully the public members that are watching right now kind of get a chance to see what's happening behind the curtain a bit. I keep refreshing it, so it makes me zoom out every time and takes a minute to kind of catch up, but great, I'm glad to see. All right, I'll stop sharing so that we can put that slide back up and let others.
Oh, sure.
Oh, Jonathan.
1 second.
Jonathan, did you get out on purpose? Uh-oh, okay. You're on mute in case you were trying to talk, but you're good.
Here, sorry.
No, you're good. Oh, and I see Espy.
You do need to get Espy, I think, pretty soon.
She's here. I see her.
I'm here. I'm here.
Hi.
Hi.
Let me go ahead and put you into another group if you're ready. 1 second. Okay. I'm going to assign you. You were in group 5. I'm going to assign you to group 4, and then if you want to wait a couple minutes, come back in, and I'll just put you in every one of the rooms before we're done.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
I'll send you about like 5
You're headed to room 4.
5 minute reminder, Espy. I'll keep.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Keep track for you of the time.
Okay, thank you.
You should have a notice. Just in terms of a time check, we're about 20 minutes out. A little less, actually.
I think we're bringing.
No, actually not yet. No, we're not. We've got another 5 minutes.
25 minutes, yeah.
Yeah.
So, Espy, did you join another group? Did you see the pop-up
No,
menu?
I didn't see the pop-up menu.
You were assigned. Let me see.
Let me see.
It should show up to you. You should see something on your screen. I've assigned you to breakout room 4, but it says you're not joined yet.
Okay. Last time I saw the little pop-up come up, do I look for it somewhere else?
Erica, should we try maybe to assign her to group number 3 or 2 other different group to see if maybe she missed it?
Yeah, let me try it on group 3. So it should happen right now.
Uh-oh.
Okay, let me see.
Oh, yay.
Oh, you made it. She made it. So it showed up that time.
It's weird to celebrate when someone leaves, but it was a good thing.
Well, everyone's on so many different devices, it's very difficult to decide, which corner of the screen they have to look at. We tested out 4 different types yesterday, but I don't think we have them all.
Hello.
Does anyone want to live look in on the map? We have 6 people, including myself, on the Facebook Live. So
excellent.
If you want, I can share with you the map again.
Yeah, I can stop the share and let you take it over.
Let's do it. Keep all of us entertained.
I feel like we should have like elevator music in the background while we're leaving.
I know. So it looks like certainly, and I think this is kind of interesting, and maybe, we could have even divvied this up a little bit more, but certainly around the port, but it's not just port traffic. It looks like I'm hearing a lot of freeway discussions. 4 suggestions just popped up in this Conway Homes area, which is certainly, something we've heard in the past. So I appreciate we'll definitely look for monitoring opportunities in that area. And then 3 just popped up kind of along El Dorado Street here. A lot of different types of sort of concerns here that I think reflect a lot of what we had already seen in this area. So let's see, that was like 2 minutes ago. I'm sure there's even more now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so then there's a couple down here. I believe this is called the Sierra Vista area. I think this particular area, but even along, this is the train area. So we definitely see some interest there. So,
yeah.
You know, I hope one of the things that we'll just make sure is kind of to our points when we were designing this is let's make sure we kind of remind folks if we kind of get to the end of this exercise and it's clear that we're maybe missing something up in here and kind of see what people are thinking about. I know that the Stockton Hazleton monitor, so the monitor I just told them that moved, was in this area. And so I did let the committee know that just because that's moving doesn't mean we can't monitor there. So hopefully that's something they discuss as well.
Yeah, it's always fascinating to see when you take, you know, like available data and ask for local knowledge and local stories. What's the outcomes?
Right, and I think we did the opposite last couple of communities. So we're trying to learn. Last time we just gave sort of our available data and knowledge because that's kind of how we'd been operating for years, and said, hey, based on this, you tell us, but really you're just deciphering maps we gave you. But in this case, I think it's really more about the concerns, and I think we've done, because we went through this exercise in a similar fashion last meeting, not really about monitoring. I think a lot of people had the wheels turning a bit, so.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I see Jonathan raising his hand. I wonder if he...
Hannah, can you please check your messages?
Yes. When you say messages, do you mean chat box?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, let me double check. Okay, let me get back to in just a second.
We can share the slide if you want again, Erica.
And Jonathan, you're in group number.
One second.
Yes, we're working on it.
Oh, Jonathan Pruitt. One sec.
Wait, okay, I see. So Jonathan Jeff was the one who, once everyone was in the group, he was still here in the main chat. Erica,
Jonathan was logged into 2 different locations. So we have him twice in breakout room number 4.
Yeah.
And Jeff is also listed twice in breakout room 5.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And one of his places, one of them didn't join, and one of them is actively joined. So one of his devices is in.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay.
So is he in 2 different groups? 2 different devices are in 2
No.
different...
Jeff is in the same group, but on 2 different devices, but he only joined one of them.
Got it. Probably his audio, I imagine.
Could you please send me over to
Jonathan, you'd like to go back?
Please.
Yes, 1 second. Ooh, it doesn't let me move you out. I might have to move you back into room, I'll move you into room 5, and then I'll have to move you back into room 4, okay? So it'll be two moves for you.
So once you're in the room 5, Jonathan, just click on leave, and then we'll move you back to your group. Zoom doesn't allow us to move you back right away. We have to do a little detour for whatever reasons.
True.
Thanks.
He hasn't joined it yet.
Okay. Alrighty. Oh, no, I still see him.
I'm sorry. My internet was bad.
No problem. All right, so now I'm going to try and move you into group 4 again.
Thank you.
Hi.
And we are now at the 20-minute mark, so I'm going to send a note to everyone.
Hi, Maria.
Do you want
to Maria's texting us, I'm from group 5 and accidentally left. My speaker is not working. Do we see Maria on the screen?
I see her on the screen. I can unmute her. I don't know if that will help if her speakers. Can you type in that whether to ask if she'd like to come? Maria, would you like to go back into group 5?
Maria's phone
I think so.
isn't really working. We'll have to figure it out next meeting to utilize her computer for some reason. But if you want to just put her back into her group, she can. Maybe it might work.
Yeah, and Maria, just so you know, we did, and I didn't really go over this because it was sort of a backup plan, but this is a backup situation. I will send you, it's on the website and we sent it out. If you can still provide us all your feedback by filling out a form that will tell, you can kind of depict which zone or which specific location you think monitoring fits best. So if you can't verbalize it, we'll still get your feedback. So I'll send that to you and we'll send you back to group 5.
Erica, could you please send me, I didn't get the thing.
Oh, you didn't get it. Okay, so I'm going to send Jonathan, you want to go back to group 4?
Please.
I need to move you to 5 again and then do 4, and then I'll move Maria to group 5. And Maria, I'll need to do the same thing for you. I'll have to drop you into another room and then put you back. So it'll take just 1 second. So Maria, I'm going to send you to breakout 4, reject that, and then I'll be able to put you back in breakout 5. One second.
Okay. Oh, Jonathan is here.
Is Jonathan back? Oh, hi, Jonathan.
I didn't get anything.
So nothing is.
You didn't get anything?
Huh.
How interesting. Okay, so not one. So what I'll do is you pull you back up. See where it says you're assigned to.
Oh, wait, I see it now. I had to click the breakout rooms bubble on the bottom.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay.
So, okay.
Is it telling you you're going to room 5?
Room 5. Yep.
Excellent. So just reject that one or accept it, then come back, and then I'll send you into 4.
Thank you.
Thanks.
It's so strange with the Zoom how they don't let us.
They should allow you to return and then go back.
That is silly.
Oh, and now SP's back.
SP's back. Okay.
Hi, SP.
Yeah. You know, I think, you know, if I can say something, there's a couple of things going on because of the fact that it's taking a little bit long for the residents to communicate with the staff. And I know the staff's not that familiar other than the map, you know, with the Stockton area. And I know we did that, the tour, but I'm thinking I have part of the Stockton because we're doing a campaign for the county for water, and I can share with you all. We did a virtual water justice tour like you're doing now, right? And so in terms of that, that's going to help with the staff to become familiar with the areas they're talking about because the residents are going faster than the staff can keep up to start putting the dots. And so what's his name? Chai was having a little bit of a problem because he was trying to get to the nitty gritty, and then it was more about like just put the dot on the area, you know, and then we can kind of get to it later. But I didn't. Yeah, so
I can give him that feedback. I agree with you. One thing, I know that Jonathan actually was a part of it. I know he just left to go to his other group. We filmed a virtual tour on Thursday.
Yeah.
So you might have been part of it too. So I hope
I'm part of it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe you need that already. Hopefully that helps us, and I'll definitely give that feedback right now because we do still have some more time in the groups. I don't know if you've seen a refreshed version of the map. I'll share it right now. It looks like we're getting a lot of great feedback. So this is all of the blue dots is everything we've heard so far.
Oh, okay.
Oops, sorry. It takes a second
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
So we're definitely, I know it seems like it's taking time, and I want to give that feedback for sure. But it looks like at least with kind of the collective group, one thing you might want to do, because I think you'd be really good at this, is, you know, I know we can look at the maps and see that there may or may not be problems in certain areas, but I think you need to think about D maybe a little bit more. It is part of the boundary. And of course, there's no pressure if no one thinks that that's a location we want to monitor. But I am thinking a little bit about the map.
D.
Yeah, and there are certainly, you know, it is a freeway. There are some sensitive receptors, mostly care facilities.
I'm trying to look at it. Yeah, like in terms of D, right?
Right.
That's where they're Scott's East. Oh, wow. Okay.
Like
who's from that area? Because that area.
Exactly. And I don't think.
You know, the area, the one, like I showed that one little video, that's just lined up for the whole entire Main Street right there. And then you have the 99 on the other end of that corridor. So I don't know if we have community members from out there, maybe that's why they're not familiar with the area.
Right. So I think what we can, that's a good point. And I think one thing you can do, up to you, but as you know, if you pop into another group, is just start thinking, you know, we've thought about where we are, where we live. And of course we want to keep thinking that direction. But if we're thinking of the community as a whole, and we know we're maybe moving that car monitor that was here, we can think, okay, let's maybe still monitor in that area because we were monitoring there before. So if you want to make that suggestion, up to you.
Okay. And then wasn't there somebody that, I think that I saw somebody's name and they were affiliated with St. George, but I don't know, St. Gertrude's is on
I did
there.
see that too. I saw that too.
Yeah.
Naomi?
Yeah, it's Naomi Haragui. She's in breakout room 3.
Yeah, that's the one I was just in with her. So she's given a lot of good feedback. And yeah, because Diamond Foods is there. And so there's quite a bit in terms of industry, like you said. And then Filbert Street right there, that they use as a corridor to go to the 4 going across. But there's a lot of good questions with trucking routes and what have you. So people are definitely getting it and looking at what are the potential factors in terms of like mobile, and then like the you know, the freeways, and then there's, you know, but no, he's doing great. I just wanted to, I think he was getting caught up in like the nitty gritty, like going, okay, where exactly? And so Arlene was trying to explain, and I was like sending her a private message, and I'm like, just give him the address. Because so what happens is Stockton Townhouses is right outside of our border. But the manager is really, I think it's on Princeton. So it basically, it's like this little pocket community, and most of the residents, it's like 50 units, and they're like low, medium income. They come from various programs, but they, you know, they're interested in having the monitor there because of that pocket. There's dust that blows over from the levees. And then I can get you the exact address, but it's the Stockton Townhouses, and I'll send it to you. I'll go get the address for you. And then there's so the levees like right, you know, near there, just like maybe a block or 2 away. And then there's the freeway, the 5 freeway. And so then that, because it's kind of little pocket area, the wind just kind of blows. It's its own mini little valley. And so, so then they were very interested, and I'm trying to get them to join, you know, as community members in terms of at least even the manager to represent all those residents,
right?
You know, to have a monitor placed there in the townhouses. And these are, I think that would be like a really good location. So she was trying to communicate that, and so she was asking, you know, like for help, but I was already in the other chat room.
Got it.
So.
No, that's helpful. That's really good information for sure.
Hey, SB, we do have 10 more minutes. Did you want to go into another room?
Okay, yeah, sure. Do you want me to go into another one or go back to Chai's and see how they're doing?
Whatever you think.
It's up to you.
Yeah.
I can, let me see. Let me go back to theirs just because I want to make sure that they were doing good, because the last one that you sent me to with Naomi, they were doing great because they were very active. You know, a lot of the young ladies were giving a lot of input, so that one was really great, and they know what they're talking about. So they're making the staff.
You want to go back to? You want to go back to where Chai is in room 5?
Yeah, can I go back to with Chai? Yeah.
Absolutely. 1 second.
Okay.
I sent the 15-minute message. I'll send another one around 5 minutes. And I'll go ahead and put the screen up again. So actually, did you want to share the real-time map, or do you feel like we've seen it recently?
Maybe we've seen it recently, and then I'll leave the next one as a surprise.
Okay.
Some good stuff is coming up, huh?
Oh, no, some really good stuff. And I think, or I should say I know, it's going to be so helpful when it comes to placing or figuring out where we're going to place these monitors. So I think we'll have a really good sort of group of suggestions for the committee, or not suggestions, but rather like proposed design, I should say, before the next meeting.
That's cool. 5-minute reminder?
The what did you say? Sorry.
Did we send 5 minutes reminder?
I was just about to say the same.
Yeah.
So we can do a 5-minute reminder, and I'll share if we want to reshare this map for those that want to take a look.
I think it's a good idea. So as they report out, they can already visualize things that they're reporting out on.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
I will, did you want me to stop? You said you wanted me to stop share?
Yeah, I think that'd be good. I've been checking the Valley Air email and I haven't seen any, or the AB 617 email, I haven't seen anything come in, so.
Great.
Takes a minute for, every time it works fine and then I go to share it and it like takes a second to sort of like render. So it looks like we did get a few folks who mentioned Zone D, which I think is a really good thing to kind of, I agree with SB. We probably don't have a lot of residents in that area, but kind of good to think about it. Definitely a lot of interest in here, and I definitely can see us using this cluster, definitely having something in E and F. So I think we definitely have a lot of good feedback. And I think one thing I can see too is, you know, we used these zones to try to sort of differentiate how people thought about it, but I can certainly see some of these like borders of the zones that we created of monitoring. So this is great.
Seems to have worked really well.
Yeah, I was nervous, and then I refreshed it the first time before I shared it with you guys, and I went, oh, good. Okay, I can share this with everyone.
I think it's a perfect combination of online, like kind of in person with a small group, and paper for with extra comfort.
Yeah, exactly. Because I agree that, you know, I didn't want everyone to just feel like we were taking notes again this time. But I also didn't want to put pressure on people to try to learn this tool. Because it is, I mean, you know, a couple meetings ago when I introduced it for the other exercise, it was sort of a mess for me. So it's nice to see it working.
It's a learning curve for everyone. Sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, and just like, depending on the day or who's around me, you know, streaming something, you know, you could just have I have like a whole cat show happening behind me, by the way.
Oh, you do?
My laptop shows
I got a text.
My laptop shows 5:25. Should we?
Yeah, I think we need to give 1 minute warning.
Yeah.
What's happening? Ooh, lots of good feedback here, sort of in the Sierra Vista area.
It didn't see. Nope. I'm going to close the rooms in about 15 seconds. I don't know if it'll take a little second to get everybody back in. So yeah, just 1 minute. Hopefully giving people time to finish their thought. And they're coming back in 60 seconds. Still giving another 60-second window.
Yep. I think this was better though, because sometimes that 60-second window is so daunting.
I know. Well, and sometimes it's 30 seconds and sometimes it's 60, but I appreciate that people can, I think, resume they can come back, actually, they can choose to come back as well.
Yes.
I think 60 seconds is automatic when they like get kicked out. But
Yeah, they'll get kicked out in 60 seconds.
Yeah.
Wow, that was fun.
Obviously correlate to industrial uses, whereas region D, as in region D, it looks like it is less of an impact on these human variables, such as low birth rate, cardiovascular disease, and asthma. So I definitely.
I see folks coming back to the main group. Welcome back. Please go ahead and mute yourself so we can avoid background noise, because there are 65 of us here. It's not just 10. Okay, Erica, looks like everyone is back, right?
Everyone should be back by now, yes.
Excellent, perfect. Well, welcome back. You're welcome to share your experience with us via chat box, whether you liked the breakout group discussions, you didn't like it, not enough time, went great. But what you're seeing on the screen that Jessica is sharing is the map that you guys provided feedback in real time, and it's been mapped out in real time. It seems like you had a good discussion. There I see a lot of blue dots, but we still would like to hear from you, from each group, a very brief report out on your top two area monitoring priority zones that your group has discussed. And I'm sure you guys discussed a lot, but please share with us in a minute, 1 minute, top two. We're gonna go in order and start with group one, a group with Ryan and Vince. Do we have a committee member who will report out and share top two air monitoring priority zones that your group discussed? The first group with Ryan and Vince.
I'm going to go ahead and apologize for that one right off the bat. We got very busy right away and we didn't suggest a person right off the bat. But if one of my individuals would like to speak, feel free. Otherwise,
I don't mind. Right. Oh, yeah, go ahead, Irene.
Oh, go ahead,
Yeah,
Irene. Thank
I
you.
think
We had multiple people identify the port, and particularly like Boggs Track, Washington Elementary.
Right.
I think we had a lot of people identify like around Charterway, around the Crosstown Freeway, like in the Little Manila neighborhood, as well as like right in the southern border, especially public housing, like Boggs Track and Sierra Vista and Conway Homes. And then, yeah, there was a concern mentioned about like the CalEnviro screen data was 2011 to 13, and some of the stuff might be darker now, given like passing of time. I think that's about what we covered. Yeah, a couple people were kind of around I-5 and Charterway as well.
Great. Thanks, everyone, for sharing. Okay, we're gonna move to group two, group with Heather and Alonzo. Anyone from group two?
I think that's me. I think.
Yay.
Heather.
Yep,
yeah.
you.
Yeah. Yeah, totally what Irene said. All those things. Obviously, the port, big focus, and definitely Washington School. So, and then everything else Irene said, and I think one of the things that wasn't mentioned is probably along Martin Luther King Boulevard, Charterway, both to the west of I-5. There's a lot of truck traffic because that's Highway 4. That Highway 4 going east into I-5, and then also Charterway by the fairgrounds. Around there, there's a lot of industry there as well, and then also air monitoring as close to the airport. So that's south of our area, but around there there's a community center there in South Stockton, and then also along kind of I-5 south where Taft School is, also where Taylor School is in Conway Homes, and then along El Dorado, where SB took that video. There's also a lot of diesel trucks using those roadways.
Thanks, Dylan. Sounds like you guys have a lot of locations identified. This is great. Okay, we are moving to the group 3 with Brad and John. Anyone from group 3? With Brad and John from the Valley Area District.
We talked briefly about having someone represent. Was there someone in the group that wanted to kind of talk about what we discussed?
I
said
was
I would
Debbie.
do it. Or if we're residents not supposed to do it, because it looks like residents haven't been doing it. So
No, we want residents to talk. Yeah.
okay, okay, I'll go ahead.
Betty.
Basically, we just we identified everything from truck travel, ship travel, airplane travel. So we have a lot of emissions in the area, and we identified many places, everywhere from the places that everyone spoke of. Also, there were areas in section C that we identified in the middle, section A and B. I think we covered pretty much everywhere. And everyone was very cognizant of the idea that we had to have a safe place with electricity and such, if an idea was to come, that we would have a monitoring site there too. But we just identified the emissions and concentrated on that mostly. We had some concerns about how the emissions maps that were given out, that were sent out to us, how they were developed, and we had a discussion on that. And that was it.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing. It looks like you guys had great mapping out activities and some back and forth dialogue with questions and answers. This is excellent. Okay, moving on to group 4 with Jamie and Christina and Joe. Anyone from group 4 who would like to share your discussion?
Jean's gonna kick it off.
Oops, sorry about that. I got on mute first. It's Gene Fuss. I'm a resident. And we started off looking at how do we get a broad overview of the area for stationary monitors. And so we said, okay, most of the pollution is pushing to the south, so we need to get good coverage going from west to east. So we were looking at, D, E, and G quite a bit. And we also said, okay, we want to look at a differential. So we said, okay, let's look at a couple of sites that are toward the north end of the boundary, up in the A. Dameron Hospital was one of the examples. Cesar Chavez Library, and there's a linen company, all up in that general area. And what we found is that in the areas we're looking for, there are quite a few school locations, which will be secure sites. And so, those look to us to be, prime areas to go. Jamie, do you want to go in on the details now?
A lot of the details, first of all, great job to Jean and all the committees, but I wasn't in all the committees, so especially my committee. I think they're the best, but that's only because they're the only one I know. They did a great job. Lots of overlap with some of the challenges, both Boggs Tract area, Conway Homes. We too had a couple of comments about being south, about some of the sources south of the boundary, and we put a couple of locations right kind of on the boundary on that south location. mirrored a lot of what was said about the Crosstown Freeway, about the Sierra Vista area and all the railroad and truck traffic kind of around that area, the intersection of 99 and Highway 4, but a lot of kind of the same messaging that we've already heard. So great job.
Excellent. Last but not least, group 5 with Che and Zom.
All right, Mary's got this. Mary, I think you're still muted.
Yeah, so we went through the whole area looking at the map, and then we had folks that had lived in different parts of the city. And so we started up in A, you know, concerned with I-5 and dust and maybe some possible fabrication north of the Deepwater Channel. Definitely concerned about areas Rough and Ready Island and Boggs Track, Washington Street. We mentioned Fresno Avenue on to get into the port area. Also, we're concerned with, besides the priority pollutants that you all had mapped, was odors was a concern, and dust, which, you know, may not just be that. And then we looked out at East Main and Mariposa Road, that there's a lot of truck traffic that's kind of using that area as a bypass. And then the Crosstown Freeway around 99, because evidently there's a lot of backup, you know, where there's not good flow. And so the folks there, you know, are experiencing that kind of extra air quality contamination.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Mary. Well, a lot of wonderful discussion, real life mapping, and with the results from 5 groups in one map, which is amazing. Yay, technology. I know that Espe had a chance to visit and participate in 3 groups. Espe, you want to share your overall feedback? What do you observed, takeaways? How did it go?
In terms of the groups, all of them were very robust, and they were able to take deep dives into the areas, and the fact that we have community members that are very familiar with their areas, and they're putting it all up there on the chat as far as specifically like the churches that are located in all those areas, the truck routes, and then the whole flyover zone, and the different, like in terms of the smell, that's like in terms of the feed, the cargo feed area. So I think that that, you know, because folks that are participating have lived in those communities, it's essential in terms of the input that they've given, and it shows by, you know, and it's being demonstrated, and now, you know, those little blue dots can then turn into an actual device that can then help us, you know, give us the data that we need, and then, you know, what kind of changes as far as, you know, moving forward. So I you know, I thought it was a lot of great input. Like I said, a lot of robust, and the staff was amazing trying to catch up with the residents, because they're going to become more familiar, and like, you know, like Jamie, our Stocktonian, that's becoming our Southside Stocktonian. They're going to become a lot more familiar with our areas here that we've lived in.
I wanted to share, I sort of took the map and made my own little like cluster groups that I think represent a lot of the feedback, not only from, of course, the map that you can physically see. And I'm trying to make this bigger. It's not getting much bigger. So hopefully you guys can sort of see that. But sort of seeing as we talked about it, and as you can sort of see where things overlap, these are the clusters I can see the air monitoring team really honing in on. And so what our plan is to really take this, take all the specific comments, because those will help us, as I mentioned earlier, talk about what types of monitoring we'll need for each of these areas. And before the next meeting, come up with a proposal based on these exact circles that I've drawn and some of the other sort of monitoring suggestions that we've heard. That's all I had.
Thanks, Jessica. And it looks like Jamie has a comment as well. Jamie.
Well, I just want to, before we close, I should have done this at the beginning, but we socially distanced last Thursday, but the reason that SB was giving me credit on my Stocktonian skills is myself and our videographer went to Stockton last Thursday and hung out with several of you, socially distanced, outside, wearing masks, all of it. But we learned a little bit about the community, and we did some videotaping to put together that virtual tour that I was talking about. I think we've got some great footage, but I want to thank all the folks who took time out of their schedules to stand in the hot sun with us. I'm going to forget someone if I start going through the list, so I won't, because I don't have it right in front of me. But I just thank you so much to everyone. But a special shout out to Jonathan, because he helped organize it for us and stood in the sun with us all day as we went around. So that will help educate our team, because we aren't as familiar with this area, and we want to better understand it, and we're trying to do everything we can in light of COVID to give our team a better understanding of what is actually happening in these areas. So just a quick thank you to everybody, and look for that. Hopefully we should have it at the next meeting.
Thanks, Jamie. Any final questions? Any final questions before we move to our wrap up? And I know I've seen some questions on the chat box, and I'm sure Air Valley District staff is answering these questions.
This is Margot Prouse here. And I just, because of COVID, because of everything that's going on, I think as a steering committee, we really aren't getting to know each other. And you said we had new members that came on board tonight. I wonder if, I don't know how people feel about contacting each other, but I wonder if you can update that roster you put together a while ago, maybe add more photos to it if people are okay with that. But meeting once a month seems even more distant. There's something about meeting in person that it kind of like helps. And so I just want people to contemplate options for this. We are Zooming. It's not like anybody has to travel to get to this meeting, which is a good thing, but we don't see each other really. And I apologize, I had to turn my camera off because I just, that's an iPad and I just can't hold it that long. And so just think about it. I don't know if we're set to meeting once a month just feels so distant, far away, and I know there's work that needs to be done in between, so I'm not gonna lay that on the staff, but I just, food for thought.
Yeah, thanks Margot for sharing this perspective. It's definitely noted and things to think about. Any other quick questions? Mary, are you raising your hand?
Yes, I'm a good
Okay.
student.
Physical hand raise is fine too.
Okay,
Go ahead.
So I just, hope that at some point, as we're going through this process, that there's going to be an opportunity to have some more education about how our stakeholders here, our steering committee, can get involved in reviewing projects and making comments, because our elected officials continue to approve projects that are adding to the air pollutants in our area. And, I just wish that we can have that next step nexus so that we can have some more activists involved in this issue. Thank you.
Thanks, Mary.
This is Noemi. quick comment here. In our small group, we talked about truck routes and getting some more information about truck routes and where they're allowed to be. I would like that in the next meeting, if possible.
Thanks, Naomi. It's noted. Excellent. Okay, I'm going to move us to wrap up. If you have any more questions, please type them in the chat box. And as always, there's many more meetings ahead, and we will be addressing some of the concerns. Our next community co-host is Douglas. Yay for Douglas. But we are looking for more community co-host volunteers to co-host our future meetings. So if you're interested, please go ahead, type in the chat box your name, unmute yourself, let us know, raise the blue hand, email the district. The possibilities to let us know are endless. So we're looking for the next community co-host for like September, October meetings. Let's see if I see anything in the chat box. And if you need to think about it and let us know tomorrow, just email the error district. We would like to say thank you to Esty for being our community co-host. I know Esty, you took extra time to prepare for this meeting, to work with us, and it's always extra effort, much appreciated. I would like to pass it to you for some final wrap-up comments.
I just want to thank everyone for their participation. It is very important, our input as community members, you know, like Mary Elizabeth was saying, so that we can have input into the future in terms of, you know, what is taking place as far as what affects our air here, our air quality, and which then affects our quality of life, which, you know, has to do with our health of our community members, especially the most disadvantaged community members, and especially during the times that we're going through now. So in terms of all of the commitment that you all have to this process, I applaud all of you. I think this is, you know, great that we have such, you know, interest from the community members across all of our areas here in Stockton. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Esty. And I see, Jonathan, your hand is raised. Would you like to be?
Yeah, I wanted to ask, with the change in the way we did the, you know, not having outside people coming in, how did the residents feel about, you know, just having the public go through Facebook? Was there any change? Did you guys feel more comfortable through it? What are your guys' thoughts?
So you can type, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's great to have the public involved as listeners, because they can, you know, contact any of you guys and provide feedback that we hadn't thought about.
Any other comments to answer Jonathan's question from the committee members? Just go ahead and unmute yourself or raise your hand and we'll help you to unmute you.
Can they ask questions, you know, or make comments at some point at the end of the meeting?
The public members?
Yeah, I mean, can they ask questions or, you know, have comments there that you can convey to us?
Yes. So we actually, the whole time everyone was in the breakout groups, we had an email address up. And maybe we can, I think maybe that next step on the agenda, Hannah, I think is that feedback, right?
Yeah, Mary, you're one step ahead of me, because the next step of the agenda is to see if we have public comments or questions and to answer them. And before we turn into that, I just wanted to make sure that other committee members would like to chime in and answer Jonathan's question and express their thoughts.
The reason why I asked is because at this time, the only time for public comments is to look through Facebook, and understand some people don't have Facebook. But I also want to make sure, based from the residents, were they comfortable during this time to be able to use the breakout sessions? Because yeah, it actually seemed a lot better with the timing. The timing was a lot smoother. So I just want to hear your guys' thoughts.
And I see Naomi raising your hand.
Yeah, I'm not a resident. I'm a community member. I work in the St. George area, but it's also my church, and I represent my students who are residents. And I just want to say that the breakout session was much more meaningful this time around because we didn't have 10 other participants that were in the group, but were not actively participating. So in our last meeting, in my breakout session, I really had the two leaders from the different organizations and then two other people, myself included, and that was it. So this time we had much more better participation from everyone. So I was grateful for that.
Perfect.
Thank you for sharing. Any other comments before I'm going to ask Heather if we have public questions or comments on Facebook or email?
I have a question.
Yeah.
I have a comment. I appreciated the swiftness of, we got everything going. We weren't dawdling. The only place where there was a little bit of a hiccup was the roll call. And maybe if we could make that a little quicker, then we could just get on to business quicker.
Thanks.
I think
Thanks,
we're all
Debbie,
for that.
Thanks, Debbie, for that feedback. I'll be in complete transparency. The roll call has been a challenge, and in the spirit of learning it all together and figuring out the technology and what's the good way to do that, we'll continue to figure out the better ways that works for everyone.
No public comments or questions on Facebook.
Okay. All right. Okay. Anything else? Any final comments, questions from the committee members before we adjourn this meeting, what I suspect a little earlier? And
yeah.
Yeah.
My name is Doug Vigil, and I was wondering how everybody's feeling about fireworks coming out. I know there's going to be a lot of smoke. And are you guys going to be able to monitor the atmosphere during the time of firework and firecracker, illegal fire, and I know they'll probably every year have in-camp fire. So are we going to be able to have it talk about it for the following month if it happened? I'm not saying, I hope not, but hopefully if that would occur, are we going to be able to discuss about what can we solve for future reference as far as that's concerned? We can learn from what we learned now and cure it later for the future.
Just real quick to address that, I saw that Councilmember Fugazi just mentioned that the City of Stockton is not doing fireworks this year, so that's good. And I will tell you that we are very concerned about personal fireworks and their impact this year. We do think that if you have health issues, your best bet is to plan to be inside. We typically see a spike in our PM levels about 10 p.m. on July 4th, and it stays up there until about midnight. So it's usually about 2 hours where they can get really bad. And while we can't outlaw fireworks, and there's a lot of people that don't want us to outlaw fireworks, we do very much recommend that folks limit their firework use. And you can also go to our website, and actually we'll put, wait, it may ever, yep, you can go, Anthony already put it out, you can go to myran.com, it's on the chat right now, and see what air quality is like in your neighborhood. But it's fairly consistent that we see those spikes from 4th of July you know, for a couple hours.
Okay, thank you.
And Margot, I see your hand is up. Do you have another question?
Yeah. First of all, I'd just like to say the fireworks have been happening in our area for like 2 weeks already. And it's just, you know, it's hard on the animals, let me just say. Yes, I would hope that in the next meeting, we take at least 5-10 minutes, say, for the whole group I would like more information about the future carb monitor. It sounds like that's going to be a more permanent monitor placement. And I think there's a lot of questions about the location that's being chosen or being recommended. So whoever's ever dealing with that, maybe they can tell us why they're looking at where they're looking, but none of us understand it.
Thanks,
Here.
Margot.
We'll be sure to get back to you by next meeting, if not before then.
Okay.
And I can possibly, this is Joe Guerrero from the California Air Resources Board, and I can just real briefly start to answer your question, and we can address it more at the next meeting. But as I mentioned earlier, the site is being closed, and we have a search that we do, and we try and find site that will accommodate the security and all the things that you guys have kind of become aware of. And as we try and find a long-term lease, the site that's being proposed right now is the most viable site that we were able to come up with at this point.
And let me just say, that's one of the cleanest areas in town. So, you know, it kind of defeats the purpose in most of our minds.
Hello, good afternoon. Just wanted to echo her comment. I would also like to get more information about the monitors, what type of monitors we will be getting, how many. I think that information will be extremely valuable and would have been extremely valuable to for today's activity. And yeah, that's that.
Yeah, thank you, Gloria, for providing this argument. It's very helpful to know what would be helpful for the committee. Again, we're here to ensure that the process is as understandable to everyone as possible, and that's a lot. Okay, well, we're almost at 7 o'clock. I would like to do a friendly reminder that our next meeting will be happening via Zoom on July 5th. Yes, August 5th. We're going to meet again on August 5th. You are welcome to stay on the line a little longer. The meeting is officially over at 7 p.m., but Air Resources, CARB staff and Valley Air District staff are here. They're going to hang out for a couple more minutes to answer some of your questions if you have any additional questions.
Hey, Hannah,
Okay.
This is Albert with the City of Stockton. I just want to say, if we are going to get more information on the monitoring and the types of monitoring, if we could just get a little information about how many and the different types of units that might be available as that process kind of goes forward. I think that'd be super helpful when that comes up again. So thank you.
Yeah, and I'll just reiterate this before the next meeting, we intend to give you just that. We wanted to use this opportunity to sort of identify the number and clusters and types of concerns that everyone had, rather than start off with a specific number of specific types of monitors and then limit what types of monitoring you could do. So, or we could do sort of collectively as a community. So we will have exactly all of that information, number, type of monitor, exactly what it would monitor for, how that will help address the issues. We had planned to have all of that put together very, very shortly.
Right. Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you.
Okay, it's 7 o'clock. The meeting is officially adjourned. We're gonna stop recording on Facebook Live, and we're gonna stop recording this meeting altogether. Again, if you have a couple more questions for the CARB staff or Valley Air District staff, you're welcome to hang out on the line for a couple more minutes. But happy 4th of July. Have a great weekend, everyone, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Hannah.
Bye.
Hey, you've got the control, if you could do that for me.
Yes, let me stop recording.